been using them for 10 years. I heard about the service through contacting Diane, who dealt with coping with cancer when my daughter was taken ill with cancer. And since, in the last 10 years, I have basically used them for myself. Basically, I use it for hospital visits. I don't use it very much for social calls because I feel that they have an awful lot on work-wise, and if I was taking it up for a social outing, I would feel a bit awful if somebody wanted to go to the hospital. But now, as I'm getting that much older, I feel that I shall be using them far more for social calls. I can ring up and they are really so good. Sometimes they come back almost immediately, depending upon the pressure they're under. But other times, within a couple of days, and I always like to give them notice if possible, and I find I cannot fault the service that I've received from them. I find one of the best things about the service is not only the transport, but it's the drivers who take me, and I have found so many interesting people to speak to. I'm a chatty person, and sometimes you get talking to them, and some of them have had such a wonderful life, and the more you question them, the more you learn so much. And I found it's been quite educational. With living by yourself, sometimes you get anxious and you go off to these jaunts to the hospital, and sometimes if it's a driver that you know, they really do reassure you. I mean, I've even had one driver that I really did get myself in a bit of a tizzy, and she rang up and made some phone calls for me and got it all sorted out, which was far in excess, I'm sure, of what she should be doing. I mean, the drivers, they're not only drivers, they give 100%. I'd recently used them on Friday, and I never expected, but there was a wheelchair at my disposal after I'd had an anaesthetic. I thought that was wonderful. I mean, I wouldn't have got that from a taxi, would I? If the county council decided to dispense with the service in Harborough, I would find it extremely difficult to get transport to all these places, because when you go to a hospital, it's reassuring to know that there's somebody waiting to bring you home. Whereas if you book a taxi, you've got to then rebook a taxi to bring you back. I also find that from some people's point of view in Harborough, it must be a great help for them financially, because they are much more reasonable than a taxi, and there are a lot of people that just cannot afford it. And sometimes I think, how do they get to hospital on a bus? If they've got a bus pass, they've got to be on the bus after 9:30. If you can get the car service, you can get picked up and taken and brought back. Hey presto, one worry off your mind. It's not only the drivers at the centre, it's the girls, or the ladies, that are at the end of the phone. I mean, they're all so lovely, and I'm not flattering them. It's so friendly. And if you were a person that lived on your own, well, I live on my own, but if you're a person that didn't have a lot of contact, when you ring through to the bureau, there's a friendly voice, and they're so, I don't know, they're just so helpful, hands-on, and they're interested in you as a person. Now, what more can you get? No, that's not flattery. That is true. I ring them up. It's like ringing up an old friend.